What's going on, everybody? It is a great day. I got woken up really early, in the, it was about, I think, 4 a.m. on the East Coast. Satoshi Pay dropped a great announcement. DTransfer partners with Bankhaus Funderheit on a new Euro stable coin. And you know what? They were glad to announce it. Apparently, this is going to be the first official user of the bank's fully compliant euro-backed stablecoin. The partnership establishes a strong foundation for DTransfer's business customers to send and receive euro instantly. It goes on, just to recap here, this was originally started with a Bitbond that introduced the issuance of this new Euro stablecoin on the Stellar network, and it's going to be pretty big. It's going to be a stable on and off ramp for the EURB with instant Euro bank transfers within the SEPA network. Going on here, this is a quote from actually Bankhaus himself. Satoshi Pay is the ideal partner for our EURB stablecoin use case because the added value generated by the collaboration is significant. Once again, this is a direct quote from them. Companies can use the DTransfer platform to make cross-border fiat payments in the shortest possible time and do so completely transparently and at a low cost. Okay? From Satoshi Pay, once again, this is combined with Stellar's extremely efficient transactions and Bitbond's proven technology. And to talk about it right here, I am bringing the CEO and founder himself, Meinhard. Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Sam, good to be on your show finally. It took a while until you invited me.
That's right.
Sorry for kicking you out of bed with our good news.
Hey,
yeah,
you know what?
Super exciting.
I love waking up to good news, man. I've been following you guys for a long time. I have an extremely amount of respect for what you guys have done in the space. Real briefly, how long have you guys been building on Stellar?
We were one of the first companies to use it commercially, and this was around 2017, the end of 2017, that we went live with our Stellar-based solution. We were building maybe from mid 2017. And I believe Tempo was one that you had in the interview the other day, was one of the earlier users. And so, yeah, we were running the nodes right from the start. So that's really when we got deeply involved in the ecosystem, when actually at the time, no one really used the network. I mean, no one is a bit of an understatement, but we saw like a few transactions per minute. And looking at where we are now with like, full ledgers and like hundreds of transactions in a minute. It's pretty, or thousands even. It's pretty staggering what has happened on the network since then.
That's great. That's great. So the network is alive and well. You're hearing it first, guys. So let's talk about this major partnership. What do you think? What does this mean? I guess first for you guys, Satoshi Pay and DTransfer, but what do you think is the overall impact that this is going to have on commerce?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if all the listeners are familiar with how the anchor system works on Stellar. So Stellar is essentially a patchwork of different anchors, which are companies or entities that are linking the Stellar network into existing and let's say old infrastructure sometimes, but other networks. Anchors can also link into other cryptocurrency networks, but usually they link into financial networks that exist. For example, banking networks and bank transfer networks. So that's essential for Stellar to function as sort of the network of all networks. And so therefore we are partnering with different anchors around the world. And we need this to make transactions from one financial or from one banking network, for example, to another banking network somewhere else on the other side of the planet. We need anchor points on both sides of Stellar. Let's say, for example, the Eurozone, and then we have the US dollar zone or in Mexico. And so on both ends, we have companies that we have relationships with. And this is needed to enable our service. And in the Eurozone, we were working with Tempo, or we are working with Tempo. And we believe that a certain competition in that, also in the Anchor ecosystem is very healthy, because different features are added by different companies, and some use cases or some companies prefer maybe a bank to do their their on-ramping, and others prefer like a money transmitting company. So there's different use cases, and this is I think a very healthy development. So people need to be up on their heels to kind of deliver a good service, and also a stable service. And also, last but not least, we have redundancy. So if you look at, for example, credit card booking systems, like an airline has like 5 different credit card systems that they use just in case one goes down. And things go down. Let's face it, things sometimes fail for whatever reason, and you can't stop your business. Then you can't say like, oh, sorry guys, you can't make transfers. So we need backup infrastructure, and this is like one first step to go into that. And with a lot of added features, obviously from Bank von der Heid and a whole different class of let's say financial companies that is entering a fully licensed bank. That is traditionally known for private banking within Germany, with some boutique customers, and recently switched, or let's say engaged more in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space.
So for a lot of viewers that may not be familiar with the caliber of bank that we're talking about here, what can you share about their history?
So it's one of the oldest banks in the world, even. So it's a very old, as I said, boutique bank. It's not a huge bank, and that's a good actually an advantage for us, because there's not many let's say decision groups we need to go through. We can talk directly to the managing director, or just someone that's just underneath, and things can happen very quickly. This, even in this partnership, we were so quick to send drafts around, first for the partnership, but also for the press release or the news announcement. And things happen quickly, and things are agile, and you need that. So in that sense, having a small entity to deal with is the ideal thing. Yet with the full umbrella of regulatory oversight, and also this hundreds of years, literally, relationship in the banking world as a whole. So in terms of size, I think, I didn't study their let's say annual reports too much. It's a sizable organization, but not as big compared to like Commerzbank or any of the other big Deutsche Bank. That's a completely different category of
Right.
companies.
Well, well, the way I look at it, I think I saw. I mean, their website URL says it all. 1754, and any bank that can last through famine, 2 world wars. I think it's. I think that they're pretty good. A pretty good solid bank in my opinion. That's what I would say.
They've seen emperors, kings, counts,
Yes.
other leaders, and many presidents and chancellors. So yes, very impressive track record for sure.
Very impressive track record. Do you guys have? I know that DTransfer. Talk a little bit about DTransfer. This is something that you guys rolled out not too long ago. I was excited because I know that you guys have the ability to handle B2B. Your software is incredible. So what can you share with the audience about DTransfer and your vision going into 2021?
Yeah, so we're known for Satoshi Pay, the content payment system for micropayments, and we were looking at the market, and we're thinking, what else can we do with the same or similar technology, or with the same technology stack? We did a good scan of the market, and we looked at different payment markets and their need for disruption as well, and also potential in terms of market size. And we ended up finding the single biggest payment market in existence, which is the B2B cross-border payment space. We're talking trillions here in volume every year, and 200 billion in fees alone every year. So, and that's the majority of this is handled by commercial banks. So about 90%, and then there's some fintechs and other organizations that are handling these B2B transactions. But it's really the big banks that we are up against. And in terms of our service and what we can deliver and how we can deliver the product, we have a good chance to get a good market share here. And DTransfer essentially, as I said, is a business service. Businesses can sign up with us, and if they want to send funds anywhere in the world and want to do this regularly and want to do it fast and transparently, They can do this with our service. Essentially, I'm not sure if you're familiar with services like Transferwise, where you log in. It looks kind of like an online banking system. You say new transfer, you type in the bank account of the receiving partner, or if there's any other payment method or payout method, you can use that as well. But usually it's bank accounts. And then the users see a bank account number that they can send the funds to. And once it's received by us, or an anchor actually, it's being forwarded to the anchor on the other side of the Stellar network, and then being off-ramped there again. And if everything goes well and we have instant banking networks on both sides, we're talking about around 30 seconds for funds to go from one bank account on one continent to another bank account on a different continent. And wow. This is truly revolutionary, and this will make commerce so much faster. And there's essentially no waiting time for these things. And I see it sometimes when I do blockchain transactions, and I'm kind of used to that speed. Whenever I have to deal with bank transactions, I'm like, oh man, why is this still around? This is unbelievable. This is, this take days. And sometimes, and this is not a rare case. You hear of transfers disappearing, and then you need to ring a bank, wow. Say, hey, where's my money? And then they, I don't know, we need to check with the correspondent bank somewhere else in a different country. And it can take sometimes weeks. And this is not an urban legend. We have businesses that have this on a regular basis. They have to deal with these kind of things. And that's not what they want to deal with. So they don't know where the money is. It takes a long time. And then also the fees are kind of intransparent, but also often a lot higher than we can, for example, offer.
Wow. I think this is great. One of the exciting things that Stellar is allowing is for business to grow and expand much easier. Speaking on Stellar, before I let you go, I've seen you guys rise very quickly over the years and expand. How has, your relationship with Stellar been throughout this, and how has that helped in your growth?
I believe that we're both enabling each other. So we often deliver very good use cases, and we show how the Stellar network can be used also to other people that get inspired by this and understand really what the power of the Stellar network is. At the same time, the foundation gives us great support in many ways. So we had this famous giveaway program where we gave essentially millions to users around the world. Wow. To use our services. And this was sponsored to a large part by the Stellar Foundation, and we're very, very grateful for that. It helps us to get a momentum going in our user base. And also recently, and this was also announced, they invested directly in the company. So there's the Stellar Enterprise Fund, it's called, and that invests in companies directly. And we were lucky enough, or very, very grateful to have received some of that investment. And this is tremendously helping us. Not just the money, essentially, money is available in many places, but having this strategic involvement and this strategic weight to it, by an organization that's global and globally recognized, including very large banks and other financial organizations around the world, New York Stock Exchange. Stellar is a name, right? It is very well known as a company that really connects to different financial networks and shows how blockchain can play a role in a strategy of a banking organization. So this is really helping us a lot. We also contribute a lot of open source software. We discuss ecosystem proposals and protocol changes. We also implement the protocol changes on our servers. We run a few nodes of the Stellar network, and we made it easier in the past for other people to spin up their own nodes. So we build software around that. We have Solar, our open source Stellar wallet that makes multi-sig and trading easier and is available on all platforms. And recently DTransfer is also yet another use case that shows, okay, here we solely rely on the anchor infrastructure, and also something I didn't mention yet, the decentralized exchange, the SDEX, the Stellar Decentralized Exchange. Mm-hmm. That's the great vision that the currency pairs are exchanged on the decentralized exchange. So there's no, central entity needed, but there's an open marketplace and people can bid for the best exchange rate and make this almost magically happen by itself and have a competitive marketplace when it comes to Forex. You can be a freelance forex trader and help us and help other businesses on the network that want to exchange euro tokens, for example, with US dollar tokens, and by that you help us in our transfers. Because what we do is when we make a transfer, we do a path payment, or we put an offer on the decentralized exchange, and anyone can fill this. This is for some corridors, it works like that, where there's enough liquidity. So now we're talking about the next challenge, which is liquidity. And but the good thing is, we are a user, and we demand liquidity. So if we weren't there to demand this sort of bigger liquidity, this ecosystem might not even develop. So we are working along the famous minimum viable ecosystem that Stellar propagates, and we're very close to this. And it's always a pioneering spirit, and all this great help. And also with Danielle as the CEO and her network coming from Mozilla, it's quite fantastic to speak to these people that have so much experience in many different parts of open ecosystem, because openness is at my heart, but also at the heart of the company, that we produce open source software, we document openly, we use open ecosystems, we use an open blockchain, a transparent ledger. And this really all comes together in building a product that uses all the advantages of these open ecosystems, which translates often in lower cost and just more efficient systems.
Right. You unpacked a lot, and I think that in general, what I've seen expand over the years is that people are starting to really take Stellar seriously as a player when it comes to the banking and total financial infrastructure. You can't just put Stellar into a box, is what you're saying. I mean, there's a lot of different tools, from Forex to, the simple, remittances. It's almost like remittances is kind of like a de facto. It's what it does, but there's so much more to the story, and you just laid it out perfectly.
Yeah, so I always see it, and this is true for most blockchain systems. It is a tool set or like a little toolbox with very simple parts that you can rearrange and build your own financial infrastructure on top of that. And with the great advantage that you don't need to run this backend, which would cost you a lot of money, and you would have to have licenses and trusted entities that secure, let's say, the smart contract execution or even multi-signature executions. So to build a multi-signature wallet was relatively easy. We just used the existing tool sets and made an interface for it, and sort of a service that exchanges these signatures, and that's it, really. If you want to do this as a bank or as any financial institution, if you want to build a multi-signer system, when you have the two business partners and the companies signing at the same time, that's a huge endeavor. That will, take you 10 times the amount of time, 10 times the amount of financial resources at least to see that happen. And here we have this permissionless innovation. We can go and just build the things we need with these Lego bricks that Stellar supplies to us.
No, that's great. Look, I really want to appreciate you taking the time. As everybody, we were texting by 4 a.m. my time, and he was actually traveling back to Berlin. He squeezed in some time to talk to you, the Stellar community, and we all appreciate it. That's one thing we love about it. Everyone's really accessible. It's an open network, as he just said. And also, he mentioned, hopefully he inspires you to go out there and build a business, because this is the real opportunity that Stellar provides. Holding a token is great. Building a business is better. So thank you, Satoshi Pay, Meinhard Benn. I really appreciate your time. Congratulations on this great announcement. And I look forward, 2021, let's sit down and have a full podcast, because there's a lot to talk about.
I would love to do that. Also, Sam, big thanks to you and your work. You have become the community voice of Stellar and the face as well. So that's wonderful. I see you everywhere on Twitter, and with your video streams and other bits and pieces here and there. Thank you so much for that. That's wonderful. It's really giving it a face.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. All right, everybody, we're out of here. Take care.